Hi everyone! Initially, I'd like to thank very much for the invitation to be here. My name is Rosamonica. I'm from Brazil. To me, it's a great pleasure to participate in a one more Open Build conference. Of course, it would be better if we are in a presential event. I hope all of you are fine and safe in this difficult time. I was in Pretoria in 2014 for occasion of the Open Build conference in Durban, South Africa, but just to look around of the uni buildings. They are so beautiful. Well, I will speak about my experience in research on Open Build in Brazil, especially during my PhD. This is the cover of my thesis, From Out Construction to Open Architecture, the Open Build in Brazil. It starts from the non-participation of the dweller in the decision-making process and the non-special flexibility related to the public production of social housing in Brazil, which nowadays is performed by excluding state market partnership. The federal government, the developers and builders are the predominant agents, and people don't participate in this making decision process. Millions bed house units have been built. They are standardized, risked, and repetitive space, both in terms of dwelling and building, and the housing depth remains. This production is inadequate to the needs of the families, and at the same time it is insignificant compared to the predominant housing provision carried out by out construction. The vast majority of Brazilian dwellings are built, enlarged, or renovated by dwellers themselves. When this practice includes reforms, its percentage rises to 85% in all parts of the city, slums, favelas, or peripheral areas. Despite these difficulties, out-construction generates solutions that better serve the everyday and domestic lives of different families. Surely the autonomy present in this practice is what guarantees power in decisions. Thus, it is precisely autonomy, dwellers' freedom to produce from themselves, as opposed to heteronomy, subordination to that produced by others, which out-construction offers and that positively differentiates it from the public business production. Given this situation, the research investigated the relevance and feasibility of another practice, choosing for that support theory from Bracken and open building, whose assumptions are reconstructed from the conditions of Brazilian production, to set up as a counterpoint to that public-private production, as a way of reconciling it with the auto-construction's advantages. It was elaborated across sections, relational and thematic analysis of two Brazilian products universe, crossed by the dialogue with the Abrac theory and in light of Bourdieu's sociological theory, field, capital, and habitus. From the results of the analysis, the study develops an architectural prospection as a counterpropose for this development showed on this slide. Alterosa Residential in Belo Horizonte metropolitan region. On the site, there is just one architectural type for these almost 13 familiar compositions in terms of number, gender, degree of relationship, and social relation. In order to demonstrate the demand for special flexibility and for empowerment in the decision-making process regarding the space itself, many field research results, similar method, and similar projects were considered. Habrack theory, building layers of brand, and Flex method about adaptive capacity from Herarts et al. That prospection demonstrates under the design, constructive, technological, economic, financial, and management aspects, the feasibility for those who produce and the accessibility for those who acquire dwelling produced under the principles of open building. It was calculated three types of costs. Option 1, a complete proposal with a full budget as if a construction company were contract, 1175 higher than the work performed on site. Option 2, without cost with a construction company for the infill, present 5% cheaper. And option 3, 10% cheaper, similar to the previous one, and still eliminate the internal walls in order to offer minimal conditions of habitability. Besides guaranteed affordability, in the last two alternatives, more families could benefit in better locations, infrastructures, neighborhoods, and so on. The argument here is that from auto-construction, the practice of open architecture in Brazilian social housing becomes more economically and socially feasible than that produced by the market state. Based on the distinction between the levels of decision making, collective support, and individual infill of physical nature, but also social and political, and defined by the support theory, the open architect proposal solves at once and in an independent way the problematic of the negative double initially highlighted. Nowadays, we are continuing research about these possibilities, focusing in their technological aspects. We already present these papers in some conference. Thank you for your attention.